Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, Barry here again. Hey everybody, Barry here again. This is the first video after the live, and I'm very pleased to say it went amazing. I'm so happy with how it went, and it's got a little noisy here in a second. Let's get loaders going. So it went amazing. Fired right up after I got the fuel pump and all that primed. I had the oil primed and all that. Went amazing. Started up. Now it was idling really, really high, and it was idling at like 105 kPa. I've picked up the tune a couple times, just figured out a couple things. But I just want to do a walk around on what I did, because I didn't skip things, but I was running out of time and I didn't have time to go in depth with it. So what I have is I've got battery cables hooked up to the battery out here. And inside of here I got my fuel cell. Here is a Bosch 044 pump. I'm going to be running two of these, but for now just idling whatever one is fine. And here's one of the Evil Energy fuel filters, whatever. Comes out of the tank into the filter and the pump, out to the engine. Now this is very temporary, obviously. And I've got two wires running just outside of here to the battery. And the pump is on a separate, you know, you can hear that. And it's this is the return here. This is a rollover valve, which only allows air in. It doesn't allow fumes back out, so there's no worries about anything in there. It's just to get it running. And this is the main battery cables, of course, with a distribution wire there going up to the PCM and everything. And the PCM is very temporarily wired in, just to two wires to the ignition, and then this one here is to the hot over on the battery. And this is my wideband going into the EGR, so I can log the wideband, which is hooked up right here in the exhaust. And PCM is bolted on, wideband's hooked up. So I'm just getting to put in the tune here now. I'm reading off the tune because this is my old laptop and my new one is dead and I forgot to bring the cord. So we're gonna go Destroked 6.0. And I'm just going to save that one here. So we're just going to look at the tune a little bit here. I've got the map sensor calibrated. The calibration on the map sensor was wrong. I had 329 point something kPa and like -8 for the offset, and apparently those values were wrong for this map sensor, so I fixed that. That helped a lot. Into my VE, I pulled a bunch of fuel out. This is up around the 50s, and like right around here it's up in the 50s, but right now I'm still idling in the 70-75 kPa range, up around 800. So I still got a bit too much fuel here. What else we got? Of course, power enrichment is done, and I'll be up into like 11.6, 11.5, up in that range, 11.7 I think. But now that's up in the boost. I haven't obviously got up there yet. As for spark, I have my underspeed and overspeed adjusted, so I get a bit more of a crazy idle, and it idles absolutely nuts. My actual timing table, my max timing is 10 degrees, because I've always had bad luck with pump gas, anything over 10, 11, 12 degrees, and then bad luck as in breaking pistons. So let's get it running and see how it sounds, and see if I can tune it a little bit. This is mostly going to be idle tuning video, going over some stuff that I have coming. I still have to put back brakes on this thing. I still got to rewire the whole truck because all the wiring has to be completely changed out. I used a Chev truck fuse block before and it was an absolute mess, and I want to tidy that up. In behind the gauges is a rat's nest. I want to improve it a lot. So there's a lot of that stuff going. What else did I do? I got the coolant, all that done. I think you guys saw that. This is the intercooler piping that I made. It isn't what you call pretty, but it does work very well. I've got the coolant bottle up here in the front with a cap on it. And in the back here, I also have a radiator, and this one's cool because it's a van radiator. Came out of a 3/4 ton van, and it also has a cap. So I don't think there'll be any issues running two radiator caps. It'll help me bleed this way better because I always had air trapped up in the rad. And I'd have the truck up like 4 feet in the air on the ramp here, which is pretty sketchy in itself, trying to get air to come from the rad up to the engine, and that sucked. So I haven't really heard this blow off valve yet, and I have no idea what it sounds like. I don't know if it's making enough vacuum to open it the way it's idling. So let's get it running and see how it sounds initially. First of all, I ain't doing nothing without these, because this thing is loud. Which apparently, after you put a cam in one of these, they get loud. All right, so the fuel pump is on. It's just circulating, doing its own thing. I think the key is actually on, so it should read fine. All right, that's good. Oh, that's good. It starts so well. In the back fender. It's really loud. Wow. Let's see what we're idling at. So sometimes I get this really lean reading, so I just shut it off, start a new log, and now we're off around 5-6% range. So that's not too bad. 0 spark return. And we're idling at 72 kPa, which is still too high, but we're right on our RPM range. I'm sorry if I'm yelling, but I really can't hear myself. Look at this shake. Wow. My spark is dancing around a nice bit. So I'm going to pull some timing out of it and pull out a bit of fuel, because we're idling around 13.6, 13.9, and we want to be at 14.7. So I'm going to take this value and plug it into the tune. I just want to see if I can hit a few more cells. It does even out pretty good, but it does go lean. When it comes back down off the rim, it's actually not bad. It doesn't shut off or anything, so that's a good sign. So I'm going to shut off the log. I'm going to shut off the truck. So it is running really, really well for how little experience I have with tuning a cam, and I've only made a couple small changes. So let's plug those values back into the tune and see if I can lean it out a little bit. And can still see that the headers is still smoking off the header wrap. All right, so let's see if we can get some more usable information here. So speed density, cell hits required. Let's go 5. Nope, that's too much. 4. Yeah, that'll get us some usable information. So I'm going to copy this whole table, and it's going to change all these values here, because this is where it's starting to go lean on me as soon as I touch the throttle. Let's go back over to our airflow and VE table. Highlight the whole thing, paste special, and let's go multiply by %half. So we can see here, these are the values that changed. It took out some fuel here. and we can see that it changed our lower VE right here, and the high spots are what was untouched and the low spots are what was had fuel taken out. And I'm going to take some more out of right here too. I'm going to take 5% out here, so we'll go 0.95, multiply, and see if we can kind of smooth this out a little bit. I'm definitely not a tuner, so I wouldn't take anything that I am doing here as gospel. I'm just learning as I go. And let's go overspeed and underspeed. Let's see if we can make this a little more violent. Let's go 2 more degrees. And here we go, 2 degrees and add. So my base spark right here is 22 degrees. I'm gonna change that back to 20. See if I can calm down that idle a little bit, and then I'll change my base idle tune also. And I'm gonna take out a couple of degrees out of this one because it's my low timing map and I haven't got that far yet. Take out 2 degrees out of the whole table, and I'll see if my knock sensors pick up on that. And right. Okay, see how it runs now. Oh, she's violent now. See what we're idling at. So the spark is really freaking out. Wideband is actually not bad at all. It keeps bumping 16 every once in a while, which is weird. Let's pull this up. Let's give it 0 cell hits, see what happens. We're still hitting up around 70 kPa at idle. Let's see what it's like on a rev. Oh, it's a lot more responsive. See if it catches itself. Yep, didn't die out. One will have to. So we still got a lot of lean. I just wanted to punch it a couple times, but wideband is working. Let me see what happens if I put my hand over this so it's not pulling any air down. It's a lot more violent. It's pushing the laptop and everything. Sound better. Want to get some usable data. It's still idling at like 70 kPa. So is it just what it likes? Maybe. Maybe I'll turn down my underspeed and overspeed and see what it likes if it goes down more. It's half steady on the wideband now, but it still wants to pull a little bit of fuel out. See. Fall off anymore. Good. What do we got? So up around here is quite lean. Now that's just on a bit of a rev, but whatever. If I can get some of this straightened out. Now 34% is a bit much, but if I can get some of this straightened out by the time the first drive comes with a few revs, I should be okay.
So I just watched Randy's video from Lowbuck LS, and he showed a way to try to see what optimal timing is to get the lower KPA value. So I'm going to try to do that. Okay, get it running again. I do like the way it idles. So, record. Idle air control is at 162 steps. That is a lot. That is quite a lot. Let's lock that at like 60 and see what happens. Oh, it does not like the idle air. Let's see what's going on. I put a post on Sloppy, and I watched a couple more Lowbuck LS videos, and Randy is wicked at this, so if you're having the same trouble I'm having, watch his videos. And the guys told me to open up the throttle blades a little bit. Don't drill it. I'm not going to drill it. People do. I'm sure it works fine. Some people screw it up, and their stuff runs like trash. So they said to open the throttle with the key on, logging, open it with the little set screw until you get to 2% throttle, and then do a TPS relearn so that it resets to 0 and like 0% throttle. That way it's not seeing that you're pushing the gas, and that should allow more air through the throttle blades and hopefully get the IAC steps down. And that way I should be able to tune my base running airflow then. So I've got my laptop here. I'm going to hook it up to the truck and see what happens. And throttle position is at 0%. Now I'm going to turn my idle screw up until it gets to 2%. So throttle position is at 0.4, 2.4. I'm just going to go up a range until it maxes out, and then I'll come back down to 2% just to be sure it's absolutely accurate. Okay, so we're on 2%. Now I need to relearn the throttle position sensor so that it reads 0%. So we can see our throttle position sensor is right here. So I need to turn key off. So I'll stop logging first. Then unplug the throttle position sensor and turn the key back on for a few seconds. So I gave it 10 seconds. Now I'm going to plug my throttle position back in again. Turn the key on. And we'll log it again and see if changes worked. And we're at 0%. So that's great. That means the throttles were learned for 0%. And now the throttle blade is open 2%, which is going to allow some more air in, and the idle air control valve won't have to work as hard to let more air in at idle. So here's an idle log with the throttle adjusted up 2%. I started at 192 actual idle air steps, and I was a little bit concerned, but if we look at the longer that I have it idling, down here is the time, 44, 45, 46 seconds. We can see that the step count is starting to reduce. Now we're down to 167 steps, 165, 62. So we're down to pretty much right around 158, 59, 60, and not quite up to temperature yet. So you can see right here, we're at 131 Fahrenheit. I got 160 thermostat in it, and I'll be running it at around 180. So for the last, I'll say, minute of the log, because we got 255 here, and the duration is actually 4 minutes. So for the last basically 1 minute, it stayed up around 160 steps, 159, you know, and it started to go down a little bit. So I think it'll hang around at least 150. So I could put in
another couple of percent on the throttle position and see how it goes. But it is idling really, really well. And apparently as long as you're under like 200 steps, then it's not really going to cause much issue. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. And what's our air fuel at? Wideband is down here. So we're at 14, between 13.9. We're pretty much right on 14:1. Go up around 14.5 a couple times. Well, I've got that tune rating. Oh, I cannot wait to get this thing on the road. That's going to be super exciting. I've got to do a harness for a guy named Dustin, and he is putting a 6 liter 5.3, some LS anyway, into a square body, so it's going to be sweet. So I got to do that for him and a couple more small jobs, so that's going to help pay for this thing. And well, my next task probably is going to be maybe the wiring. More than likely going to be the rear end, because I have to move that wheel ahead a lot, because we can see that it's not spaced very well in that wheel well, and my drive shaft's too short. So I'm going to take this and move it ahead about 2 inches. That'll bring my wheel about right there, I'll say, and it'll be a lot less of a gap there, and that should work really well. I'll probably either end up drilling the center pin hole out in the main leaf, or I very well potentially could make a new bracket right down here and move the hole back a couple inches so that the rear end moves ahead. But I will see. I might ask on Sloppy if drilling that leaf spring is a good idea. But yeah, getting really, really close. I think I'm going to put my fuel cell in under the bed floor and just cut a hole where I can pour gas in, take the cap off, that kind of thing, because I want to do a wood floor in this so I can take the motorcycle and stuff, and it'll be a lot easier not to have to drive over a fuel cell and not risk knocking the lines off of it or anything like that. Well, I'm still trying to get my head around this, and it seems to be idling okay-ish. I think it actually idled better before I started messing with it. The curse of being me. So I do have the original tune on my laptop that worked really well. It started well, it didn't flare or anything, which this one does. It starts up, it goes whoa, and it comes back down, and it seems to even it a little bit. I do have a little bit of a spit in it, like it'll be out and it'll go like no misfire count, but just like a little bit of a lean pop, which is odd. So I might have to check my injectors again. And the averages are looking fine. I'm only like 6% lean, 5%, so I'm between 14.2 and 15.2 kind of thing, which I'm fine with. But I'm gonna try to do my base running airflow now. And I'm watching Randy's video from Lowbuck LS, who's been a great help so far. And I'm gonna set up a histogram, which right now I need to do the math, so that I can tune my base running airflow. I'm actually gonna go like that right now. So this is the parameter that I need to do. I need to go idle adapt, short-term idle trims, plus long-term in gear with AC off, which doesn't matter because I'm only using a manual transmission. Engine isn't ice cold, so it's not going to start down here in the minus 40 Celsius section. It's probably going to start up around 20-ish, maybe a little bit higher, and then I'll let it idle and it'll work its way up.
Well, apparently I'm getting some data. The one was before I made the change that got this correct, because I was actually... Apparently the engine sees park when there's nothing hooked up to the transmission. And I had it on in gear, so that didn't really get me any useful data at all. But I think it might actually get me some data now. So I'm going to get my head around this a little bit more. I'll cover it after in another video, because I'm just having a really hard time getting it figured out. But I think I might go back to my other tune where it started up really well, it idled well, there was none of this lean pop going on. So I'm gonna shut it down here before I confuse everybody as much as I'm confused. So I did get a lot done. I got it to start and idle, and it's not surging or anything. And I'm starting to learn the idle tuning a little bit more. I have a lot more to learn before I go and show you guys and end up showing somebody something wrong and destroying their engine or making it worse, as somehow I did to mine. But, you know, I'm still learning. I'm absolutely not a tuner, but I will figure it out. So I'm gonna shut it down here and go home and try to get the smell of fumes out of my clothes and my hair, my beard, all that. It all smells like 11 to 1. So we got it running. That's the main thing. The engine runs. It has to improve a lot, and we will make it improve a lot. But this is, for now, this is the only engine running video, because I got a lot more work to do. I've got wiring, I've got rear end stuff to do, I've got to put floor in the pan, I got to put a seat in it yet, and that'll all come very soon. So thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to the YouTube members and patrons. If you want to check out my Patreon, it's patreon.com/stationroadratrods, and the YouTube members link is down here. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.